Hey everyone, in this video I'm gonna implement a team tracker with Excel. So if you have say team of 5 to 10 members or a small team, you can easily track your team performance based on that. So as we know, lots of us maybe started working from home, or if they are in office and you want to see how they are performing, so you can do it with the Excel only. There are lots of ways to do it. Either you do it with the database or create some kind of UI and then implement it. But there's a quick and easy way to do with Excel, and you can have all those kind of graphs and performance metrics for your team. Okay, so let's start without any delay. Uh, I have noted down few steps which you need to follow. So, and the first step, you have to find the key task for team and the relevant data which you want to track. So, you need to identify which task your team is doing and what would be the relevant data. And then you have to what you need to do in Excel, like what I have created, the date. So for each team member, I want them to fill the date and the ticket number on which they are working. So you may have assigned some work to your team members, then how many hours they are spending on tasks, and then they have to fill for the key task. So why I'm focusing on the key task, you have to determining all those say key tasks on which basis. So if your team is working say 5 to 10 key tasks, you have to note it down, uh, because this is something you need to pre-pop. It's good to pre-populate so that you can measure the performance, like if the person is doing a development or they're spending more time on the designing, or how many persons are doing the designing and coding or debugging. So kind of that activity you can predefine all those key tasks, then activity details. So whatever your team member is doing, they can fill up all the details in detailed. So if you want, you can have a look there and add it by. So this would be by default with a person with a person one. So if a name, I'll explain you later why we are adding this field, because this will help us in determining or filtering the data based on individuals. So if you want to see the individual performance based on date or compare with the task, so that will help us. Okay, so uh, that's a uh, that's the first step, identifying and relevant data. Now we have already created tabs, just to make sure you are creating a table. So there's a difference if you are not creating a table. So if you're filling up the data straight away, there's a high chance that uh, you won't be getting all those data pre-populated in some other field, because we need to combine all this data, right? So it's good to convert all these uh, cells in the tables. So to do that, what you need to do, you have to insert then table. So my table has headers, okay, and then you can change the table name or keep it as it is. So it's a use. I'm just keeping it as it is, right? So this one is converted. You can change all these all the designs are here. So you may change or you may keep it the light one, right? Similarly for this one, you have to convert in the table. My table has headers. Okay, so this is table 2. You may want, if you want, you can change it with the person name. You can change it to person 2, or I'm just keeping it as it is. Uh, if you want, you can change whatever with the naming, whatever is easier for you, right? So this is done. Then person 3, the same thing. Table. My table has, okay, select it. Yeah, and so table 3. Then person 4, do the same thing, insert the table. My table has headers. Then yeah, it's a table 4. Okay, person 5. Do the same thing, insert a table. My table has headers. Okay, it's a table name, so its name is 5, table 5. Okay, right. So as I said, if you want, you can change with the person 1, person 2, person 3, or I'm just showing you as a demo, so I'm just keeping the table name as it is, right? So once you do it, I go to this one. So key task which I was saying, so you have to, for each person or for each team members, you need to pre-populate the key task. So you have to go there in the data, then data validation, then any value should be list, and you have to select from where you have to put. So you can combine these, or you can select more if you want, because if I would advise to have more, because if you want, if you need to add a more task, it would be easier. Otherwise you have, every time you have to change this field for each member, right? So it's good to have all bits expanded. So just say okay. So just done for the person 1. So if you see there, you will see all these things are pre-populated here, right? So once your team member would be filling up the data, they will see a key task. They can't change it, so that's another bit. They can't make any changes. So you can do measurement, real performance and all. Similarly for this one, you can go there, key task, then data validation, list. You have to go there. Okay, sorry. Key task, do it. Okay, you can change the message as well. If you want, you can put some help message. I'm not putting any help message here. So whatever you would be putting as a help message, that would be showing when a person would be filling up data, or if they would be having error. If they won't be filling, then yeah, there are lots of style here, warning. I'll keep it as a default, right? So that's okay. So I've done for person 2, then person 3. You have to do the same thing so that all your member would be having the same bit. So again, go there, key task. Okay, okay, person 4, task validation, list, then key task. Okay, okay, same with the person 5. Yeah, so what we have now, we have this kind of table, and we have pre-populated fields for the key tasks. And so uh, the difference which I was saying, so if you start the filling the data, so if I fill 21 3, say ticket number T12345, I'll spend 1 hour. So say I'm doing the development or designing, it's not development, I don't know. Okay, if I do the coding, and we can put it here like coding on module added by person 1. Okay, okay, so just see the difference between the table, and if you are putting this data without table. So if I start putting data here, say 2103. Okay, see the difference here. It's already expanded, right? So wherever you would be using this table, it would be having all this data. You don't need to say write any macros, or to combine all, or to pre-populate this data. So that's a benefit to have a table, right? You can put the detail 3 4 5 6, any number here, then 2 hours, say testing of module. So that's kind of dummy data. Just oops. Okay. Right. So similarly, all other data can be filled for this one. So okay, let's see where we are. So we done with all these tasks. Then we have did the linking. Now what we need to do, we have to combine these data. So from this now on, let's see very carefully what I'm going to do here. So I have to go in that, sorry, you have to go in the data, and so just select this one and from table range. Okay, so once you go here, it will take some time because it would be fetching up the data. Okay, so this is coming with the Power Query Editor. So this is where the magic is going to start, right? So this is a thing where it would be combining all the data from all of the tables, right? So if you go to home and properties, by default it takes a table name. You can change it, or you can say like all data, whatever you want, you can change the name, right? Okay, so now you should be showing this here, all data. uh, Now what we need to do, because this data is coming, this data is just coming from this the first table, which is table 1, and the table 1 is assigned for person 1. If you want, you can have a table name with the same as you put the tab name, whatever is your wish. So you have to remember that which table is assigned for which team member, right? So what you need to do next, so just go here in the advanced editor. Let me show you the query, because at the background it runs this query. What it shows, it's not a kind of Java or some other Python or something. So it's kind of own language. If you see the let source equal to excel.current workbook, then it's giving the name. So what it's doing, it's populating the data from table 1 and all content. Okay, then it's changing the type, so it's transforming the column types. If you see, we have filled the date with the date, so it just took the date time type. Similarly for ticket numbers, took the text. Because r is spent, we put the integer, so it's taken the int 64. So it's if you see there, so showing a 64-bit integer. Similarly key task, we since we put as a text, it's taking all those values by default, right, added by type text, right? And then it's doing the in, and then the change type. Okay, so now because this is having only one table, what we need to do, we need to combine all these tables, because we need to combine all members data to monitor the performance, or to see the performance how my team is doing, right? So to do it, what we need to do, you have to go here, home, then append queries. Okay, so once you do it, take few seconds, and you have to see which table to append. Okay, so I'm just showing you the example. So all data current, what I'm doing, sorry, we are just appending the same table, and we will change the query later on. Okay, so just do okay. So if you see, it's having all these uh, tables repeated, right? So go again in the advanced editor. If you go there, you will see some of the queries changed, and here you have append query as well, right? So because we are appending the same data, same database, not database, the same table with the same one, so it's having change type, this table name with the same one, right? So what we need to do, we can copy it, copy notepad, or and we can do it for all other database or all these tables, right? Because we have 5, so we can have source 1, table 1, then source 2, table 2, source 3, table 3, source 4, table 4. So what I did here, all these variables, source 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have taken all these table data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So at the next step, all these variables, I have to change one. Sorry. I've taken source 1, then source 2, change type 2, 3, source 3, change type 4 with the source 4, change type 5, source 5. Okay, so I've transformed all these tables with the change type 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so in the append query, you have to change because now you have data source, all the source and change type. You have to combine all those, right? So you have to do change type 1, 2, and you have to combine all 5, the 3, then 4, then 5. Okay, and yeah, that remains same because append query would go here. There's no need to change here. So what you need to do, just copy paste it here. Right, so it's saying no syntax errors, so that's good. Let's see how it goes. So if you see there, you will see all this formatting here. We have all these 5 tables in the 5 variables, and these have been changed, containing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data, and then we have combined all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. Okay, all right. So just done it. Okay. So now once you do it, once we start filling all this data, it would be having all. So here you have you can see all those the steps as well, right? Applied step. Okay, so now you have to close and load, right? So just close it. It would be having it would be creating, it would take some time. It would have another sheet again, this one. You can rename if you want all data, right? So you can put it here if you want at the end. And let me show you. So in person 2, say if I have put the date, say if he has worked on some ticket number or spent 1 key task researching person 2. Okay, if you go here and you have just refresh it, you'll see this data, right? So now you have so similarly, if you go in all other tables, so once your team member would be putting up the data, and it would be having, you would be having all this combined data, right? And here, so let me show you for this person 3. Any ticket number, it's not mandatory, you can put or you may not put, it's not relevant. Right, okay, so if you just refresh here, right? So now what we have we have all these tables. uh, the good thing is uh, you don't need to put all team members data in one spreadsheet, so they can fill their individual sheet. Okay, so now I have added data for other team members. So if you see there, person two, I have added few data for that, and similarly for person three, I've put all the dates are spent in different tasks and activity details, and added by person three, four, and then five, right? So if you go there, if you refresh, so this would be combining all these tables data into one. So now we have all combined data into one, and now we can play with it. So we can we can create a graph. We can do the create a pivot table, whatever you want, right? So if you go here, the dot sub is coming by default. So whatever you want, maybe if you want by this one, go ahead, right? So here, if you want filter with the added by, so this is creating a pivot table. If you want uh, column or rows here, so in column if you want date, if you want filter added by, uh, you can select here with the person one, two, and you can see how the persons are performing, right? uh, Similarly, what you can do, you can move it here in the rows, and or you can put a key task or in the columns here. So you will see the date you can do in the filter. Okay, so now you have all data with the person, so you can easily see like how the person is performing, and there's a date filter here. So once your team members would be adding all these data, you will see all this, and yeah, you can create a graph as well. So if you want, you can recommended charts. So whatever you want, you can have this. All right. Yeah. So like this one, you can see the performance of your team, and with the data, as soon as you get the data, you can create a filter here, so you can see how the persons are performing. If you want to select for the person one, you will see how they are spending their tasks. So for example, he's spending more time on the testing and debugging and then code, and then you can have, so if you want for the person two, you can see where they are spending more tasks, so debugging, right? So similarly, if you want to have all this data into one, you can have all this one, like how they are doing all these tasks, right? So that's a one way uh, to analyze the performance. So similarly, you create another pivot table where you can have a filter like this way. I have filtered with the date, then I put columns in the key tasks, then in rows I have put added by, so that will show my team members performance and then some of ours, right? And if you want, you can have a graph for this. So if you have the recommended chart, if you show here, okay, yeah, right. So this is another way, yeah, where you can measure your team member performance, like for the date basis. Have data for one date, but yeah, if you have data for other date, it will be showing all those. So if I need to see like how members have performed on 21st today, you'll see like this person one is spending 6 hours on an average. Person two also 6 hours. The person three is having more 7 hours and 9 hours. These two are the 9 hours, and we can also see like how members are performing the task uh, based on each day. So, for example, this is doing 1 hour task for coding, where this is doing designing for say 3 hours, right? You can also do a filter if you want to see from the task basis, like if how many persons are doing the application support. So you can see, yeah, so only one person did the application support task today, right? So similarly, if you want to check how many persons were doing the coding part, and yeah, so you can see all the data. So whatever you want, you can take a filter as per your wish as a tracker. So I think that's a good way to do it, and very quicker and easiest way to do it on the performance, right? So there's another way. So if you want, you can create a UI, front-end UI, and you can have a database. Then yeah, you have to do all those bits. But yeah, this is the way, easiest way if you have a small team and you want to have a track and all, right? So either you can do on this basis or on this one, like uh, how the persons are doing based on tasks. So whatever if you have the data, you can play with it whatever you want, right? So that's all for this video. Hope you get something with this one, and you may create a tracker, and you may measure the performance and all. So if you learned something new, just go and like this video. You can subscribe my channel for all other video updates. So thanks for watching.